Hi friends, so we are back again with the second part of our video in the Dolomites, Italy. In the first part we showed you the trip that we covered from starting from Bolzano to Lake Misurina and Lake Antorno and continued to Tre Cime di Lavaredo. Today we continue our journey and present to you the second part. So, if you remember at the end of first part, we were up at Tre Cime di Lavaredo for a very early morning sunrise shoot. Part 2 starts with us coming down from Tre Cime di Lavaredo and we head down to the hotel. I forgot to mention that we were actually staying overnight to a hotel very close to Tre Cime di Lavaredo. It was around 20 to 25 minutes of drive from the car park at Tre Cime di Lavaredo. And after the sunrise shoot, we came back to our hotel for some well-deserving breakfast. We had a very nice breakfast at the hotel with a very nice view. I think I will try to add the link of the hotel in the description because it was a lovely hotel. The breakfast was fantastic. After the breakfast, we started for our first destination of the day, that was Lake Dobbiaco. And Lake Dobbiaco was actually pretty close to the hotel. It was around 10 to 15 minutes of drive. It was a very nice scene when we reached the lake. We parked our car. It was very nice and relaxing. There was nice breeze there, and actually the best thing was there was not a lot of people, which was fantastic. There were some localites around there who were taking their nice weekend walk in the morning, but other than that, I think there were more ducks around than people. After I think a relaxing half an hour to 45 minutes, we started our way to Lake Braies, which is the more famous lake in this region, and I'm sure you have seen a lot of pictures of Lake Braies. We reached Lake Braies at around I think 11:30 because the drive from Dobbiaco was around 20 to 25 minutes. I think in that sense we made a little bit of a miscalculation by reaching there very close to noon because it was pretty crowded by then when we reached. And the other thing is that if you are there in the summer months, people are allowed to do boating in that lake. So that was another problem because the crowd was too much. That is why I would recommend that if you are going to Lake Braies, be there for a sunset or a sunrise shoot. I think sunrise is a better option. I made a couple of shots that were very, very classic compositions that we have all seen with the wooden boathouse in the foreground and the mountains in the background and a beautiful aqua colored or teal colored lake in the mid-ground. So after finishing our visit to Lake Braies, we then grabbed a quick lunch. I think there were a couple of shops selling hot dogs and some pizzas around the lake. Yeah, it's that touristic. And then we headed down to a small town called Ortese. This is in the Val di Funes region. It's actually in the Val Gardena region. We drove there because we wanted to stay there for the night. We drove to Ortese, checked in for the night, and we spent some relaxing time there just because it was around 2:30 we reached in Ortese after a couple of hours of drive, and we wanted to go to Val di Funes for the sunset, which was pretty late in the evening given it was the summertime. Anyway, after a couple of hours we started our drive for the Val di Funes region. This is a big valley. It's Val, I think it translates to valley of Funes, and the Val di Funes region and the Val Gardena region, the two valleys are separated by a big mountain massif called the Gisler or the Odle mountain group. And this is what is one of the most photographed mountains of the Dolomite region. In the Val di Funes region, we were targeting two places. The first one was the St. John's Church in Ranui. This is one picture I think most of us have seen in the Dolomitic region, with one church in the foreground, a big forest of coniferous trees in the background, with the Dolomitic peaks further in the background. So this was the first place that we wanted to visit. It was a classic location, and I think we were pretty much mesmerized by it. We loved it because the light was perfect, the cloud was playing in the sky, and I think we were just blown away by the scene. One good thing about the Val di Funes region and the Gisler mountain is that the mountain, if you look down to the mountain, they are on the south side, and this means that either sunset or sunrise works for you well if you are there at the correct time of the day. After finishing our shoot in this St. John's Church, we went to another church, that was the San Magdalena's church, but we actually did not stop at the church, and we went further up so as to shoot the church from a higher ground with again the Gisler mountains in the background. We made a couple of pictures there as well, but I think the weather was not very good when we reached to shoot the Church of St. Magdalena. The weather turned from very nice light to very cloudy in a matter of few minutes, and we had to pack up for the day and come back. So we come to the third part of the video, where we go to Alpe di Siusi for a sunrise shoot. We had to wake up at 3 a.m. to drive from Ortazai to Compaccio for about 30 to 40 minutes. We parked the car in Compaccio. That's what one has to do by regulation. One cannot drive further than Compaccio, and then walk for about 1 hour for 5 kilometers to reach the location. Now the Alpe di Siusi region, it's a meadow, it's a pasture with undulating ground, ups and downs with hillocks, and the idea was that we would shoot there at sunrise, because the sunlight falling in this meadow from behind us would light up these up and down hillocks and the mountain in front of us. We reached the spot well before sunrise, but it was unfortunate for us that it was a cloudy morning. Just going back to the tips about photography, bring your wide lenses. A 24-70 is a very good tool for you. And the second point is, as I mentioned, one cannot drive beyond Compaccio in this part of the mountains. So maybe you want to plan and stay over in one of the lodges or hotels in the Alpe di Siusi region. Then you can drive to these hotels and maybe at night also capture the Milky Way. So maybe you can plan accordingly, and that's what we plan to do next summer. This brings us to the end of our third video. Enjoy our pictures and videos from Alpe di Siusi, and see you the next time.